Hello and welcome to Firearm Freedom. This is going to be another first impressions video. In today's first impressions video, we are taking a look at this Streamlight TLR VIR2. As always, if you are looking for a way to support the channel, this is not a sponsored video. You can click that first link down in the description below. That will take you to the Firearm Freedom merchandise store. I have some awesome new shirt designs that I just know you guys are going to love. I love them myself. I wear them all the time, and I actually do have a few new designs and stickers dropping shortly. So I do appreciate the support. I appreciate you guys repping the brand that is Firearm Freedom. If you want to make sure that you're not missing out on these videos, the best way that I have seen is to comment down below, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. All of those interactions kind of kicks the algorithm into gear and makes sure these videos are not being hidden from your subscription feed. I say that this is a first impressions video on this VIR2, but I have had this now for, probably about a year, and this is the first video I've done on it. The more that I get into night vision videos and night vision accessories and other things, the more that I realize as a content creator just how difficult it is to get reliable and usable footage of a product under night vision to get on camera for you guys, and also how tough it is for me to get out to the freaking range when the sun's set and I'm not in bed at like 8 p.m. because I'm essentially an elderly person at this point. So when we start looking at night vision products, it is what it is. It takes me forever to get this stuff on camera. Full disclosure, what is my relationship with Streamlight? I have been working with Streamlight for a very long time here on the channel, and they did send me this light for free to check out, but they are not a sponsor of the channel. They are awesome folks over there at Streamlight, and all they ask is that I give the product an honest and unbiased opinion so that they can take a look at the video and just kind of see what needs to be changed, if anything. So that's exactly what I'm going to try to do in this video. When you're looking at night vision shooting and you have a PVS-14 or like night vision device, you typically want to have a few different ways to aim your firearm under night vision. And if you didn't already know, when you're shooting something like a pistol, like this Ruger Mark IV Tactical, or you're shooting something like a rifle, if that gun has iron sights, the focus of a night vision device gets all types of weird. So you're not going to be able to easily focus on your sights. So you're going to need some other item to actually shoot a gun under night vision. Typically, those items are going to be red dots for what's called passive aiming, and that's going to be aiming passively. You're not letting anybody know that you are aiming a gun in a certain direction because you're looking through a red dot like this Vortex Viper. And there's also a type of aiming called active, and that is going to be letting everybody know, right out there that you are aiming, but it is also generally a faster way to aim a night vision device, and that is typically going to be through a laser aiming module like this VIR2 here. Now, there are a lot of different laser devices on the market, and when you see IR, it simply means that it only shows an infrared light that you can see through night vision. It is not going to be visible to the human eye. Now, the laser aiming modules that are out there, especially in the way of pistol-mounted laser aiming modules and other things for night vision, are incredibly expensive. Like everything else, night vision wise, this stuff is not cheap. It is really expensive to get into it. But that's why, in my opinion, the Streamlight VIR2 for the night vision beginner is so appealing. This little light comes in at around $300 generally, depending on where you see it. Nowadays, it might be more closer to $350. A lot of people might say, geez, compared to the TLR1, that is crazy expensive. But when you consider everything else in the night vision world, this is about the cheapest you are ever going to get into a night vision laser aiming module that also has an illuminator. This light in particular is going to be built very similar to a Streamlight TLR1. You're going to see it almost has the exact same body. This means that certain holsters that are set up for the TLR1, whether it's the HL or the standard TLR1, will fit with the VIR2. So that is pretty cool if you're looking to use a holster under night vision and still have this light available. I will say that I have tried this light in my Blackhawk Omnivore holster, and that holster is kind of set up to only go off the retention of the light. And what you're going to run into here is, you can see there's these nice little knobs here on the end of the screw that tightens the TLR1 HL, and a lot of holsters will index off of this point. When we're looking at the VIR2, it is flush here. It's a little bit like their newer designs, and unfortunately, a lot of holsters will not get the proper index point. So this is going to go in and fly right out, and that's just going to be a problem overall. So just keep that in mind when you are looking at these lights and different options for holsters. What are the features that the VIR2 has? You're going to notice a switch on the bottom. Streamlight once offered this light similar to their TLR2 series, which has a little laser sticking out the bottom here. That kind of sucks for holsters, and it's really just not ideal. So Streamlight went ahead and put the infrared illuminator and also the infrared laser inside the bezel of the light here. So you have your standard white light section, and we have infrared options off to the side. Now, you can control those settings by the small switch on the bottom. It is very easy to control, and at times I am a little bit nervous that I'm going to accidentally flip it into one position or the other, but I have not experienced that issue live fire at the range or any other time. You have the ability to either have the light off, and this is kind of handy because it's not going to ND either infrared or white light in your bag, and you have the ability to switch it to infrared there, which of course is going to be your illuminator and laser. And then we also have a visible white light as well. So even if you don't have night vision, but you're planning on getting night vision and you need a light for whatever reason, this has 300 lumens, which is obviously much less powerful than the HL, coming in at 1,000 lumens. It is still definitely enough to get most situations well illuminated, especially if we're looking at indoors. Is it ideal? Maybe not, but for a small white light in the night vision world, that's actually about the going lumens that you're going to see most of the time at the price point that this light is at. Now, when we start looking at the night vision setting on the VIR2, here's where it gets a little bit interesting. So the IR setting on this only has an infrared laser slaved with an infrared illuminator. So you can only have the illuminator and the laser on at one time. You cannot control whether it's just the laser or just the illuminator. This might be bad, it might be good for some people and their situations. It really depends on what you are doing. When I am using handguns for night vision shooting, I gotta be honest with you guys, most of the time I am using a small pistol red dot like this, or a Trijicon RMR, or something else. Believe it or not, even though the Viper is not rated for night vision, it does get low enough that I can see that dot without issue, and it also is not too high to where it's burning a hole in my tube or anything like that. It actually is a great little red dot for this 22 for night vision. Because passive is so easy for me to pick up on this particular pistol or whatever other handgun I have this light on, I don't really find it an issue at all, so this is more of an extra for me if for whatever reason I needed it. You guys heard me mention that it only has an infrared laser. Downfall there is, in order to sight this laser in, you have your adjustments here. Now, the adjustments are a small flathead section there, but there is no visible laser that is slaved to the infrared laser. On a lot of different night vision laser aiming modules, you can have a visible laser that you can sight in under regular light conditions, and it is slaved, it is attached to the infrared laser. That is awesome because that means you can sight it in at the range like any other laser, and you can be guaranteed that your night vision laser will also be sighted in. In this case, you got to sight this thing in under night vision, and that can be a little bit of a pain depending on the situation. Now, for me, I sighted it in at about 10 yards, which you guys are going to be seeing on the Psionics Aurora camera, and it lights it up pretty good. It's just one of those things where you're kind of fumbling around with with a flathead screwdriver, trying to get in there in the pitch black, looking at it through a night vision device like a PVS-14, and then you're slowly controlling it. You're looking at the dot in your red dot and just getting them lined up like usual. Is it the end of the world? No, but I do wish that somehow in the future, Streamlight could incorporate just one more setting on here and have a slaved visible laser. I think that would be pretty nice. It works just fine. Of course, I was able to sight it in. A quick note on sight in though, I have a buddy that has this VIR too, and he had a bear of a time trying to get this sighted in. Now, I don't know if that was just his in particular unit, but it was not wanting to stay zeroed, and he was not able to walk the laser in. And sometimes what does happen on lasers, whatever it may be, whether it's infrared or visible, is they can get bound up. So if you guys aren't familiar with it, a lot of the time, if you crank down just one side, sometimes a screw can go in too far, and all of a sudden your laser is completely bound up and it won't go in either direction. So when you're sighting in a laser, it's important to just do small quarter turns on whatever setting you need to go on, whether it's left and right or up and down, and that is the way you want to go. You don't want to just crank one side. Now, I don't know that he did that, but regardless, that had an issue getting sighted in. Now, I've also heard others complain about this not getting tight enough on certain Picatinny rails. Just like their other TLR series, you have small Picatinny inserts in here that come in the box depending on your rail. I have never had the issue of this not getting tight. I use typically a flathead, which, full disclosure, you're not really supposed to do. They size this out for like a coin, but it just gets kind of annoying to go searching for that, so I usually have a flathead around. Now, I've ran this on a Glock, and that was what I did live fire shooting with. Unfortunately, I was not able to get any live fire night vision shooting of this light, but I have shot it. You guys are just going to have to trust me on that, and I did really enjoy it. I was shooting it actually at about 40 or 50 yards, and the laser was still getting picked up, no problem. But I have never had an issue of this thing walking loose or not being able to be tightened down. As you can see here on the Mark IV pick rail, this thing is rock solid. It is not going anywhere. When we're looking at the infrared performance of this light, this is where a lot of people have gripes with the VIR2, and I don't know that I have those same gripes. A lot of the time, as you guys are going to see, compared to, let's say, my Holosun laser aiming module, and you'll also see this with certain Steiner products and other things, your illuminator is very crisp. It is like a perfect circular hotspot that can be widened or tightened depending on what you're doing. And that is awesome to really reach out to a very specific thing downrange. And if you're using a rifle, that is generally ideal. That's generally what you want to have. This has the complete opposite of that. It is all throw and no hotspot. So much so that I cannot find any clear and defined hotspot. It just throws it everywhere. And when you're outside, that may not be the best thing to have. When I was shooting this at, say, 40 or 50 yards, that illuminator really started to stretch out. I mean, I really didn't see it downrange on the target, but I picked up the laser no problem. So outside, kind of think of this as just a laser. And the downfall with that at a certain distance is you still have issue of kind of red lighting your whole position, if you will, because you have this massive illuminator coming out and you can see the laser downrange, but you're also showing everybody where you're at like crazy if they have night vision devices as well. Indoors, close up, inside rooms, this is where I think the VIR2 shines. When I'm messing around at the house inside with my night vision devices, trying to clear a room or whatever, this thing lights up every single nook and cranny of that room. I mean, it just throws the illumination everywhere, and I kind of like that. There's throw all over the place, and I actually use this VIR2 a lot of the time to be a little bit of an aid in my camera work. When I'm doing night vision videos, I almost always have this thing leaned up against a corner or something because it does such a good job of throwing a spill of IR illumination all over the room. That, I think, is a huge benefit, and if you look at what this light is designed for, which is handguns, it really shines. Would I recommend this light on a rifle? Probably not. Unless you were only doing like 25-yard in work with a rifle, this is just not really going to be ideal for that. It's not really designed for that. It's not designed to punch out to a longer distance with a really clear and defined hotspot. It just doesn't work well. When we're looking at how clear that laser is out at a distance, there's no issue at all there. This laser shines really nice, really clear and crisp at, I would say, easily out to 100 yards. You guys are going to be seeing it primarily in this video at about 100 feet, so take that for what you will, and you'll probably still be seeing a little bit of spill from that illuminator as well. As far as the toggle switch on the back of the VIR2, this is the one place that I think Streamlight could have probably updated it a little bit better. It has just your traditional TLR 1 toggle switch in the back. Now, I don't necessarily mind this, but this is something that a lot of people don't like because of how easy it is to accidentally flip these on or off. You do have the kill switch up here at the top, so that's kind of cool. You never have to worry about NDing this. But with their new switch design that's on like the new TLR 7s or the TLR 9s, I do think that would be awesome on this light, especially if they were somehow able to make it in a way that you could still use TLR1 holsters. I think they would really knock it out of the park with that, if they were able to kind of mesh that together in the future. The run time that you're going to get from this if you are in the white light setting is about an hour and a half, 1.5 hours, and that's relatively standard for a white light, and it is going to have 12 hours of run time in the infrared setting. So a lot of the times, even if you do accidentally ND this into the infrared setting and keep it on, I've actually done that before. I left it on. As you could imagine, it's tough to remember that it's on because the moment you turn the lights on, you don't see that it's on and off in the corners. 12 hours seems to be about accurate, but we will see down the road in the future. It also takes just one CR123 battery. Overall, guys, how do I like the VIR2? I really like the light. I have no complaints with it really at all, because if I'm using it in the setting that it's designed to be used in, which is indoors, close up, this thing knocks it out of the park. It gives me great illumination. It lights up the whole room. I can see all areas of the room that might be hidden, and I think that's pretty freaking cool. And it also gives you a laser that you can use that is sub $400, which is very hard to find in the night vision world. I think the only thing that would make this better, but would also probably increase the cost a little bit, is a slaved visible laser. We'll see what Streamlight puts out in the future. It all depends on how many people are interested in these. Now, if you guys have any other questions about this VIR2 or anything else on the channel, please throw them down below in the comment section, and you guys know I absolutely will get back to you. And while you're down there in the comment section, head back up to that description, check out those links to support the channel, and as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for more great videos coming soon.